Hey there. It's Friday, almost 10 o'clock. I am Lucinda, Bobby, and I just thought I would talk about my movie. In Second City. I've been in Second City, Chicago for 5 weeks now. 5 weeks. And it has been exhausting, and I'm running on empty. And what makes today so significant is this is my very first Friday in all of that time that I have not been in Michigan. What I've been doing is going to Second City during the week, Thursday, sleeping all day to just recover, and doing some homework, and then Friday racing out to Michigan and doing physical labor Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes even on Monday, and coming home just in time to get ready for school on Tuesday, and then doing my homework on the train, in the train station, in the bus station, in Second City lobby, anywhere I could find a cubbyhole to do my homework. And today was the first day that I actually did homework at home. That's like a win. And I've been writing all day long from about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning until just now. I just now finished. I didn't get as far as I wanted for the amount of time I've been writing. I ran out of ink and a pen already, and I'm about 20 pages in. I'm still doing pen and paper. I haven't gotten a laptop yet. I lost my laptop in the move. I have no idea where it's at. It's either stored in a box somewhere in my storage room or it's gone. So I've been working on pen and paper. But as you know, for a little under a year, I've been working on a movie about two addicts in love, which is actually my life story. And I wasn't allowed to work on that at Second City. I had to come up with something completely new. So I temporarily shelved that in order to focus on Second City. The class that I'm taking is movie, film, and TV sitcom writing. It's an intro class, and it's what you would take pre-Writing 101. And Writing 101 is still considered an intro class. When I pass Writing 101 and I graduate to Writing 2, Writing 2 is the first professional level of writing. And what's really exciting is, for me, in this class, movie, film, and TV sitcom writing, all of the students are for-profit commercial writers that actually write for a living. I'm the only one in the classroom that is truly an intro. Everyone's just taking this class as kind of a filler in between something to do in the summer. I'm the only one who stepped into this class with intent of learning some very basic skills in order to go to a professional level. And with that said, I had to come up with something completely new. And I don't think I would have ever picked what I'm currently writing about. And at the time that I picked it, I was just kind of spitballing and putting down some ideas to master the mechanics and the law of writing, with the mindset that this would never be a project that I would actually work on. I was just using it to understand the mechanics. And through the last 5 weeks of working on this, I fell in love with the story. And my instructor accepted the story, and not only accepted the story, but when she was working out the mechanics with me, she made two statements that I just took to my heart. The one is, she said, "Bobby, your writing is very solid, relatable, and I'm in the story. You have me in your story." The second thing she said is, "While I know you submitted it as a feature, there isn't anything I would cut from your story, and yet it's too packed. There's too much, but I don't want to cut anything, so I'm returning it back to you so that you can turn it into a 3 to 5 episode series." So me, a gal from Cal City, that at Wentworth Junior High, I was in 7th and 8th grade, Class C. And Class C is for the kids with, let's just say it's not the advanced class or the regular class. It was sort of the Rugrats of kids that, they couldn't keep behind. They had to keep moving forward, but they weren't really sure if they were mastering the information to move forward. And in high school, I graduated with a 1.6 GPA, and the only thing I mastered was art. And in my English class, I blew off an entire year of English. I just wasn't into Shakespeare at the time, or Wuthering Heights, which is interesting because I'm a reader now. And I remember at the end of the year, the teacher said, for extra credit, you could do a report on Shakespeare. You could write as though you were a character in one of the 5 books we read, or you could submit creative writing, such as short stories and poetry. So I submitted like a 2-inch binder of all of my teenage angst poetry and gave it to my teacher. He read through all of it, bless his heart. He's so amazing. He read through all of it. And when it came time for the grades to be passed out, he made a big announcement, and he literally like banged on his desk, yelled my name, and I was startled. And he said, "My dear, I am insulted by what you submitted." And I thought, oh no, for sure, I'm not even going to graduate high school. I didn't even get my cap and gown because I was totally persuaded to believe that I wasn't going to graduate high school, because what I needed was 1 solid credit, and everything else I was failing except for art. And English, I had a very high F. So when he said, "My dear, I am insulted by what you submitted," I was downcast and just held my head and thought, all right, let's hear it. He goes, "Aren't you curious why I'm insulted?" "Sure. Why are you insulted?" And I will never forget this, and I never have. He said, "I'm insulted because you sat in my class for an entire year and did nothing. And you submitted this book of writing to me. And you are actually talented. I am insulted because you are sitting on talent that you refuse to use. I'm giving you a D. You will graduate." And it's funny how things that are spoken over you, you never forget, but they have power. Like, words really have power. And I'm sitting on talent that I have not used. And over my years of being a young adult and into my 30s, 40s, and 50s, so many people have said, you have a book in you. You should write a book. You should write a book. You should write a book. And I just never did. And I started to write a movie about my life. And that process of writing it over the last 8 months healed me in a way that I don't think anything else could have healed me. It released all my pain and hurt and caused me to have a forgiving love and an accepting love of someone that I was once paralyzed towards for the hurt that I carried. So that movie healed me. And then I find myself in Second City, and I find myself with the need to come up with something totally new. And I'm sitting among giants who do this for a living. And I've never written a movie. I've never written an episode. I've never written a sitcom. I write comedy. I write jokes. I don't even write my characters, or if you've seen any of my videos, the Mr. In Between Jobs or Goth Anna or Ms. Rose Colored, I don't formally write them. I push go on the video and do exactly what comes to mind, first take, and I laugh all the way through it. But this time I had to write. And so I came up with a story that is loosely based on a very dear friend and all of the men that raised me. So it's a conglomerate, a blending of personalities. And the story is a man in his 40s who is a father and a husband and an addict and an alcoholic. And he loves his family, but hates that he's constantly falling short and disappointing his family. Hates that he lost control and can't find a way for his family to love him the way they once did. And his family is so bitter and hurt by him that they can't even be with him. They just detach from him. So everyone's living in the home like silos under a spirit of independence. And the only love, acceptance, and validation this man has is at his bar. His home bar is where he goes for love. It's where he goes for friendship. It's where he goes for acceptance. It's where he goes to feel free. At his bar, no one's angry, no one's crying, no one's asking him to do the impossible. And at his bar, everyone loves him. And he's faced with an impossible choice. Does he keep the bar and his addictions and his alcohol? And if he does keep the bar, he loses his boys and his wife and everything that's good. But if he keeps his family, he's bitter, angry, and lonely, because that means giving up his bar. Could he have both? Well, he's tried to have both and he's failed. And that's my story. And it's Jack and Mandy and the boys. And today I spent all day long doing character development and writing everything I could possibly think of when I imagined Jack and Mandy. So I wrote down Jack's background, how he grew up, what his hobbies are, what he likes, what he does when no one's looking, what he dreams of doing but can't attain? What's his fantasies? What's his goals? What's his favorite song? His music? What does he do on a Saturday night for fun? What does he do on a Tuesday at work on his lunch break to pass the time? What does he wear? What's his physique? What does he look like? What do people see when they see Jack? From his clothes to his cologne, to the way he wears his hair, to his stance, to his walk, to his voice, to his cadence. What's Jack's blind spot? What's he ashamed of? What's a secret nobody knows? If he could do anything and not fail, what would that be? How did Jack meet Mandy? Who was Jack before Mandy? Who was Jack when he was winning Mandy over? And who's Jack now that he lives with Mandy and the boys? Who's Jack at home? Well, at home, Jack's in his garage. In everyday life, he works, he's in his garage, he fixes his car. In fact, no one's allowed to touch his car. He's the only person that's ever touched his car. He's the mechanic and the doctor and the caretaker. His car is probably the first woman he's ever loved. And then who's Jack at the bar? Well, at the bar, he's invincible. He's the solution man. He's the one that makes the fun. He plays the best music on Touch Tunes. He's buying everyone drinks. Every girl wants to get next to him, and every guy calls him brother. But Jack is so much more. Jack feels things. He's sensitive. He's artistic. He's not exactly athletic, but he's also really masculine. And he lives to move people to believe that they should be afraid of him. They should love him, but they should be afraid of him. And then Mandy's in her 30s, and she stands about shoulder high when she's next to Jack. And her favorite thing is when Jack leans down to kiss her. She feels like he's scooping her up and shielding her from every hurt she's ever had her whole life through until the day she met Jack. The day she met Jack, she went from black and white to color. Jack makes her laugh. Jack has her curious about life. Jack's a different world. Jack likes hard rock music, but Mandy's in love with country. She's a country girl. She loves the love stories, the songs about the broken down trucks and the dog, and imagines that her grandpa's the safest man she's ever met and the only man she's ever trusted. She has this long, sandy brown hair that's in waves and tousled because she sleeps in braids, but when out in public, she always wears it loose and long. When she met Jack, she had skinny jeans and a slim t-shirt and yarn braided necklaces that just scratched her neck enough to make it slightly raw, but she couldn't remove the necklace because it was too sentimental. She had formed them with her own hands. And she wears real vanilla so that she smells sweet all the time. Almost a woodsy sweet scent, like what you would have as a fragrance in the deep forest just before the rain. That citrus cedar vanilla. Only the real cooking vanilla, when blended with her chemistry, is something that you can't buy in a bottle. And she loves art. She loves books. She loves museums. She probably doesn't belong in the bar that she met Jack at, but she's just there maybe once a week for a good time with a few of her girlfriends. She's the one that'll take 2-3 hours sipping on a bottle of beer. She does more talking than drinking. It's almost like a kid going to a roller rink. That's what Mandy imagines the bar to be. It's her one fun place where she can laugh loud and be free without following all the rules that she sets for herself Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and especially Sunday. And so meeting Jack changed Mandy's whole world. And quickly they were inseparable. And it wasn't shortly after that they moved in together. They did life together. And she's just ever present in Jack's life. There's nothing Jack can do that's wrong. But slowly, almost like watching a turtle cross the street or a herd of cow when you're in a rush in the middle of the country. Slowly but surely, Jack chips away at what Mandy's fantasy of greatness is. Maybe he stays at the bar a little too long. Maybe he's a little shy on coming up with the money for a bill. Maybe he's a little angry and out of pocket and not able to care for her when it's visible to everyone that he hurt her. Maybe he flirts a little too much with an old friend, but Mandy knows it's more than a friend. But she turns a blind eye to it because she loves him. She loves Jack. And the months and years go by, and lo and behold, Jack does, to some degree, keep all of his promises. He found them a place to live. It's rented. It's not the house he bought, but it's rented. He gets promoted at his job. He takes her to Sunday dinner, and he has her falling in love with his mom. All of his friends think she's amazing. And every once in a while, he'll even take her on vacation. He's keeping his promises enough to where he pops the question, and with a modest ring, they're married. And shortly after, she's expecting. And they have twins. They have boys. And Mandy loves boys. And Jack just thinks he's on top of the world. But as you know, having children takes away some of the romance. And Mandy, while she used to be all about Jack, she throws herself into motherhood like she's never thrown herself into anything before. And everything's natural. Everything's homemade. Mandy's the kind of mom that won't even let a baby eat baby food from the grocery store. She's making everything homemade in her blenders, and she's got homemade laundry soap. She's homemade medicines. She's an extraordinaire. She has the house clean. The house is modest but clean and decorated and looks so inviting. And she cooks every day and just waits on Jack hand and foot. But the boys increasingly take more and more and more and more of her. And before you know it, you almost wouldn't even see Jack or Mandy as married. In some very strange way, they individually operate as single. Jack's a little more flamboyant with his single behavior. Mandy's a little more domesticated. And that is where the real heartbreak happens. He lost his girl, and she lost her protector and her provider. Sure, they still live in the same house, but they're strangers. And it begins to shape into Mandy and the boys and Jack in the bar. And some things in Jack's life start to take priority. And Mandy is less and less and less accessible. They really are strangers. And he gets to a point where he must choose. And he's slowly losing everything he once thought was everything that made him a man. And all he has is his bar. But that's kind of all he wants, because so far it's the only place he feels at home. And I won't ruin the story for you, but there is a dramatic change in all of them. There's a change in Mandy, there's a change in Jack's mom, and there's a change in Jack. And I couldn't be more in love with all three of them. I do believe Second City is turning me in to a writer that isn't sitting on talent unused. And so today was a positive, awesome, amazing, glorious day. Today was the first day I could totally dedicate to writing. And I wish I could tell you everything, because what I told you aren't even the best parts. I read my first 2 episodes to a friend, and they literally started crying. And they're like, holy shit, Bobby, you nailed Cal City. You have every bit of Cal City's flavor in this story. When I read it in my class, I had like 3 students just like leaning in, listening. One of them literally interrupted and asked questions. And the last one, when the instructor asked for me to stay 15 minutes after class to work through something, one of the other students that writes for a living asked if he could stay behind because he was that invested in the story and was curious how the instructor would shape it. I quite by accident unearthed something that so many years ago that English teacher tried to pull out of me. And I too am here to say I am insulted, but I'm full of grace, and I forgive me for sitting on talent. And from this day forward, I am a commercial writer for profit. I am a Second City graduate. I have a movie that heals women. I make people laugh, and I get paid to entertain, and I'm booked on a stage every New Year's Eve, and I am living through art, inspiration, and relatable stories, and I'm working out pain, and I was placed in the absolute most perfect city in the entire world. If I could choose anywhere to live, I would choose Cal City, because Cal City is my blood. It is me. It's my DNA. It's everything that shaped me into the woman I am today. And it's absolutely everything that's gonna make me live out my dream. I fucking love that I get to do this. And when I make it, when we make it, I will remember you. And to the two strongest women in my life, the one who said, Bobby, do everything you said you would do. And the other one that said, I still love you. I want you to know I am with you, heart, soul, and mind. And I'm so grateful that you spoke life over me. If you're still with me, today was a great homework day. My hands are sore. My brain is a fog. I ran out of ink, and I'm working through writing pads that have just been sitting on a shelf for years. And I absolutely could not be happier. To my friends and family, and to everyone who made this possible, and to you, Bump, the one blue-collar man that kept his promise. I love you.